Brittney Griner, who was imprisoned in Russia in a man's prison, which I had no idea.
Is under fire for extremely aggressive behavior portrayed toward Caitlin Clark, the rookie from last year, the one that has everybody's focus in the WNBA. And this incident has, of course, gone viral online, but also sparked up some other skeletons in Brittney's closet that she probably wants to stay hidden.
Brittney got the shock of her life. And no, it's not from a surprise birthday party. Doctors just revealed some wild, jaw-dropping details about her health that have Brittney straight up panicking. And to make things even crazier, Caitlin Clark, when full attack mode turning the whole situation upside down, what happened next, stick around, because this hilarious chaos is about to get seriously intense, and you won't believe a single second of it.
Oh, gotta see this. So Brittney Griner has just been banned from the WNBA. After this situation with Caitlin Clark is going viral, where she made some extremely racist remarks from the bench after getting fouled out by Caitlin Clark. I mean, this is just insane. Just watch this video, bro.
Brittney Griner just threw a full-blown tantrum. And no, it's not because someone ate the last slice of pizza. Nope. It's because the doctors dropped a truth bomb so big it made the WNBA's carefully curated woke safe space wobble like a Jenga tower in a hurricane. Yet you heard that right, the same Brittney Griner, who's been elbowing, yelling, and basically turning women's basketball into a WWE pay-per-view, is now sweating bullets because medical experts decided to actually take a closer look at her biological status.
Brittney Griner just called Caitlin Clark a trash effing white girl. Caitlin Clark has been picked on and abused ever since she entered the league in 2024. And now Brittney Griner is joining in on the action, saying that she is an effing white trash white girl because after she fouled out, she decided to take her anger and frustration out on Caitlin Clark. If the roles were reversed, imagine the type of field day the media would be having right now. Let's all remember the character of Brittney Griner. This is the same woman who got caught smoking weed in Russia and was...
Now, here's the kicker. For 6 years, we've all been told you can just declare you're a woman and poof, instant eligibility to dominate women's sports while the rest of the female athletes are left scratching their heads, wondering if they should have just said the magic words too. But oh no, not Brittney. She didn't just glide through, she elbowed her way in literally. And then threw a racist tantrum on top of it. Remember that little gem when she went. After Caitlin Clark, yeah, that wasn't your garden. Variety bad sportsmanship, she literally called her a trash white girl. 'Cause what a little racism between woke teammates, right?
There are a number of states who are aggressively moving to prevent transgender athletes playing. And I was wondering, where is that going to be on your radar in terms of advocating for athletes, all athletes, transgender athletes, be able to play?
Oh, I mean, that ranks high on the list of things that I'll be fighting for and speaking up against. You know, everyone deserves the right to play. Everyone deserves the right to come here, sit in these seats, and feel safe.
Really, Brittney? Really? Can we switch this Brittney with the other Brittney, please, and bring her back?
But hold on to your seats, because here's where things get juicy. The medical revelations aren't just your average, interesting kind of stuff. Nope. They suggest that Brittney might be playing a completely different game, one that involves a level of physical advantage most female athletes can only dream of, and that advantage is biological, undeniable, and the WNBA's silence on the matter deafening.
Made a trade for the Merchant of Death and returned him back to Russia for him to continue doing the same shenanigans that he was doing before he got arrested. He sold $10 million of arms to the Houthis. You think this was an even trade? The WNBA is nothing more than the WWE with women in basketball shorts.
Look, this isn't some conspiracy cooked up by a couple of keyboard warriors. We're talking about trained medical professionals who studied bone structure, muscle composition, recovery patterns, and even injury histories. Are scratching their heads harder than your grandma trying to figure out TikTok trends. Because Brittney's frame, her voice, her very movements don't check out for the average female athlete. Imagine a doctor going, wait a minute, that's not a female bone density. And then the WNBA just twiddling their thumbs like, move along, nothing to see here.
Seems that the WNBA is, well, we know it's not a serious league. But it seems like maybe they are trying to hide something. They certainly do not want anybody with an opposing viewpoint covering their league. Now, mind you, this is a league that's never turned a profit. This is a league that, even with Caitlin Clark having joined this league last year, lost $40 million.
And to add insult to injury, quite literally, Brittney's been caught on camera assaulting Caitlin Clark with the subtlety of a wrecking ball. But when you consider potential biological advantages, she's been hiding under the guise of gender identity. That assault becomes less about dirty play and more about unfair dominance. Suddenly, the whole trash white girl rant feels a bit like throwing gasoline on a fire that's been burning quietly in. The background you want hypocrisy. Let's talk about how the WNBA has spent years preaching inclusion and equity while simultaneously sweeping these glaring questions under the rug. It's like telling everyone you're all special snowflakes, while letting one player bulldoze through competition with an unfair edge and a side of racism. If Brittney were a straight white girl, trust me, she wouldn't be elbowing her way to championships. She'd probably be benched faster than you can say virtue signal, and then there's a whole Instagram AI drama. Remember that. Video that resurfaced Brittney's Instagram posted a topless video that somehow slipped past the platform's AI, which is supposed to flag female nudity instantly. Instead, the AI is apparently so confused it just gave her a free pass, treating the content as if it belonged to a male athlete. Now, that might just be a glitch, but considering all the other medical doubts piling up, it's the perfect metaphor for the entire WNBA's approach a system that's blind to reality, deaf to facts, and desperate to protect a player who may not fit the league's own rules.
It used to be a chill, quiet place. You could bring your laptop and relax, maybe even get a little work done. But now it's like there's a large gathering of people watching us from the stands. Some of them are yelling crazy shit about what they're seeing, putting unfair pressure on us to score like we're there for their entertainment. And that's pretty gross. I
act like this.
But hey, let's give credit where it's due. Brittney's panic mode is understandable. It's not just about losing face over those racist comments or even the assault on Clark. It's about facing a future where her eligibility is questioned, her records wiped clean, and her reputation shredded. If the medical community's calls for chromosome tests, hormone levels, and bone density scans get answered, Brittney could become the poster child for why sports leagues need rigorous biological verification, and not just I identify as policies. And don't get me started on the legal mess waiting in the wings. If it turns out Brittney's been competing under false pretenses lawsuits, I'm going to rain down harder than a slam dunk. Imagine every athlete who lost out because of this woke loophole lining up to claim damages. The financial fallout alone could bankrupt the small country crickets, chirping louder than the backlash they're trying to dodge instead of embracing transparency or setting a precedent for fairness. They're hiding behind a wall of silence and damage control. Maybe they think ignoring the problem will make it disappear. Boiler, it won't.
Deal coming, and that's going to bump up to about $220 million a year. But even that won't matter if something happens and Caitlin Clark's ratings disappear, like they have now that she's been injured. But that is not teaching this league anything. A couple of weeks ago, and even though it went viral, it somewhat got lost in the shuffle. Brittney Griner's effing white girl trash comments that was caught on video. Some people tried to claim it was effing whack call. I'm sorry, there's not a world where I...
Because here's the bottom line. Women's sports are supposed to be about fair competition among women. When you let players with male biological advantages waltz in because identity trumps biology, you're not just bending the rules, you're breaking the whole playing field. And if Brittney Griner remains in the WNBA without any accountability or testing, what does that say to every female athlete grinding day and night trying to compete on a level playing field that says their efforts are meaningless? Now, this isn't just a Brittney Griner problem. It's a crisis shaking the very foundation of women's sports. For years, leagues like the WNBA have claimed to champion equality and empowerment, yet they've quietly allowed biological realities to be ignored in the name of political correctness. This isn't about hate or discrimination. It's about preserving the integrity of competition, something every athlete deserves. Think about it. Sports have always been divided by sex because biology matters. Male and female bodies are fundamentally different. Muscle mass, bone density, lung capacity, and hormone levels aren't just trivia. They create advantages and disadvantages that shape how athletes perform. Ignoring these differences isn't progressive, it's reckless. Now Brittney Griner has become the poster child for this recklessness. The medical community's growing concerns aren't coming from some fringe voices. They're grounded in decades of scientific research. When experts point out that Griner's physical characteristics align more closely with male biology, it's not an attack on her identity. It's a call to uphold fair play.
Watching on purpose, it's very disruptive. It's called the freaking game that they pay you money to play. Don't play the game. It's very disruptive. It continues. Brittney Griner voiced frustration in a recent interview, claiming that Caitlin Clark is ruining what used to make the WNBA great. Wait for this.
Empty stands?
This is why the WNBA is never, ever, ever going to work and never make money. And this is exactly what Caitlin Clark gets for bending the knee. Do you guys remember when she said, when we lost all respect for her, when she said, I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege. And the more we can elevate black women, this is going to be a beautiful thing. That's when it was all over. And Angel Reese and Brittney Griner, they walk around like the league owes them something. Even Ryan Clark's attitude as if, bro, where's the victimhood? These are freaking millionaires. Like, what are you talking about? It's attitude, it's no humility, just entitlement, and that's not confidence, it's arrogance with receipts.
Imagine being a female basketball player who trains for years, sacrificing sweat and tears to earn a shot at glory, only to have that shot taken by someone who, despite identifying as a woman, possesses natural physical advantages that can't be erased by hormone therapy or self-identification alone. That's what's happening. And it's not just unfair, it's demoralizing. What's even more troubling is how the WNBA and other governing bodies have responded. Instead of facing these tough questions head-on, they've chosen silence and obfuscation. It's as if admitting the problem would shatter their carefully crafted image of inclusivity. But here's the brutal truth. Inclusivity that comes at the cost of fairness is no inclusivity at all. It's a betrayal. And it's not just about fairness in competition. It's about safety. Women's sports aren't just recreational. They're high impact, physically demanding, and sometimes brutal when athletes compete on uneven footing. The risk of injury skyrockets, and yet rather than addressing these concerns transparently, the league seems intent on sweeping them under the rug.
Once revealed in an ESPN interview, the struggle she faced with her body and outward appearance when she was growing up. Yes, she's very flat-chested. Listen, there's arguments about there. There's arguments out there about people that think she's not a biological woman. I ain't gonna argue with you too hard. Fact checkers say she is, but just essentially is completely flat-chested.
And let's be clear, this isn't about tearing anyone down or denying anyone's right to exist as they see fit. It's about protecting the competitive landscape that women's sports have fought so hard to build. It's about honoring the sacrifices female athletes make and ensuring that their efforts aren't rendered meaningless by policies that don't reflect physical realities. If anything, Brittney Griner's situation should be a wake-up call. Sports leagues need to develop clear science-based eligibility criteria that respect both identity and biology. This might sound controversial, but ignoring the issue won't make it go away. These women work tirelessly to compete on an even playing field only to see their opportunities diminish because of lack of proper regulation. And what happens if this problem isn't addressed? The consequences could be catastrophic. Sponsors may pull out, fans may lose faith, and the very credibility of women's sports would be irreparably damaged. This isn't hyperbole, it's a real possibility if governing bodies continue to prioritize optics over fairness.
WNBA is committed to eradicating racism, along with criticism and most other isms. Now, of course, feminism is allowed along with feminine masculinism. A week or so into the season, Bob Griner potentially violated the No Space for Hate policy. Bob was caught on video speaking blasphemous rhetoric towards the Great White Hope, but for some reason, Kat Engelbert is choosing to ignore it. Kat Engelbert can't find the interest to even launch an investigation.
And for the fans and athletes who feel betrayed, it's time to demand accountability, call out to silence, push for transparency, support women who are fighting not just for medals, but for fairness and respect. Because at the end of the day, women's sports aren't just entertainment. They're a hard-fought battleground for equality, opportunity, and dignity. Letting that battlefield be overtaken by politics and double standards does a disservice to everyone who cares about the game. So, yes, Brittney Griner's story is more than just a headline. It's a symptom of a much larger crisis. and unless it's addressed, heeding the consequences, will ripple far beyond the WNBA courts, shaking the very future of women's athletics worldwide.